I am so excited for today's webinar. We have Christoph Malzl with us today. He is the VP of Land Voice. How I connected with Land Voice was simple. A lot of us want to do a lot of business, but our databases are just too small. Okay? Believe me, I've been in the business for over 10 years, right? And my database is pretty decent, but in reality, I just want to focus on a specific area. I got clients and family and friends that live not just in California, but throughout the country. And I wanted to find a place where I can get data in a specific area, where I get data on the people that I want to work with, right? And that's how I connected with Christoph. And Christoph today is going to share with you guys how to close four transactions in the first quarter of 2026. I'm super excited because I know the price point where you guys are all located. The average commission in these areas is at least 18,000 to 20,000 or sometimes more. You guys close four of those transactions, that's at least 60 to $80,000 in one quarter. So have be ready to take some great notes, be inspired, and really, I'm gonna let Christoph take it from here. So thank you guys for showing up, and let's give a hand of applause to our guest speaker today, Mr. Christoph Mozzi.
Yay, thank you very much. That was awesome, Coach Q. Thank you. I am so glad that we connected and that we, like I said, we do it early in the year. And I'm glad we picked a conservative title. It's exciting when you put it in perspective and put a dollar sign behind four transactions. But getting four transactions, guys, this is conservative. We have clients here at Landvoice that do that in a week. Okay, so we are just saying if you can do that in a quarter, you're already winning, But just keep in mind, some of you may just take it and run and just do like for a week or at least for a month. So with that said, Landvoice has been in business for 30 years, actually over 30 years already. If you haven't heard of Landvoice, I'm sure you heard of all the other companies that we started. We started as one by owner, then we I'm not going to name them all right now because they are now competitors of ours. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. But we actually are the first data company that gives you the contact information for the most motivated sellers anywhere, anywhere in the United States. We look under every rock and pebble. We find all the data and make it so easy for agents to stop doing research for data and start going on listing appointments actually fresh and ready to go and not being the 20th agent who finally shows up, right? Either on the phone or on the doorstep. Um, I always like to start with a reality check. Okay. So in 2024, believe it or not, now that's not last year, but that's the year before last year, there were only, well, it was a lower volume, right? 4.06 million. It should be normally a lot higher. But the sad news is that 71% of all agents did not have a single transaction at all. So what did they do? Many of them were part-time agents. Others were full-time agents who went back to their old job. And that's the saddest thing that I can see in this industry. When somebody had a dream and then they go back to what they were doing before, or they're going from full-time to part-time just because the excuse interest rates are too high right now. Nobody's selling. Everybody's sitting on the fence. I don't get enough sellers or not enough buyers. And so I'm going to take a back seat. Please don't do that because we have to look at this the other way around. 29% of all agents did all of their transactions, 4.06 million in volume. That's how many transactions done by 29% of agents. All right. So there is huge opportunity. And the big question is, what did these agents do different than those agents who didn't have any transaction? Why did some have a record year and they are just laughing all the way to the bank, and the other ones are saying that was the worst year of my life? Well, the change we have to do right now in this market, in last year's market, and the year before, we need to start shifting from just working our database, our past clients, and our sphere to actual need sellers, whether we know them or not. And most of them you will not know. They're not in the database yet. They're not past clients. They're not maybe even in your sphere. You have no idea who they are. But there are people out there who need to sell their house. They're so motivated that they will pick an agent before they even talk to you, right? And then when you finally get to them and they say, oh no, we already found somebody. And you say, oh my gosh, if I would have only known. Prospecting is a contact sport, guys. Yes, we have AI, and AI takes a lot of our back, right? I mean, that's a lot of stuff we don't need to do anymore. A lot of content writing is now done by AI. A lot of our creations of ads and so on can be done by AI. Follow up can be done by AI, but eventually we need to have a one-on-one conversation, hopefully early in that process, really early. I'm going to show you now how we can have the best result, the most effective result in having a real one-on-one contact with somebody and get that listing. And we cannot do it without tools. If we think, that it's enough right now to do what we did like 5 years ago, it's not anymore true. Everything is moving faster. Everything is working at a greater speed, especially with AI. So you need tools that put you ahead of everybody else. While everybody else is still doing research, trying to find the most motivated sellers and need sellers, you're already on the phone setting your listing appointment. How? So I'm going to show you exactly how that works. Before we do that, let me highlight a little bit the best lead sources right now, the number one lead sources you need to focus on in 2026 if you want to have listings. A lot. First, expireds for sale by owners, pre-foreclosures, and then geo farming. Okay, LandVoice is specialized in all of those. We had a phenomenal year last year, and this year is going to be even bigger. We have been in business for 30 years, but we have never seen anything like we see right now. 144 billion dollars of volume of expires and cancels are actually coming back on the market this month alone in the United States.
Wow. That's a big number.
It's a big number, guys. Half of those expires and cancels will not use the same agent they used the first time around. Actually, more than half. Okay. So now the question is, how many of those are in my market? And how can I get to those expires and cancels before everybody else? Because that number is going around right now. Everybody knows this is going to be the expired year. I think in 2027, we're going to look back at 2026 and say that was a year of expireds. And everybody who did expireds, they won big time. And cancels. I shouldn't leave those out. So let's talk about expireds a little bit. Let's spend about 10 minutes on that topic. They are by far the most attractive lead source that you can think of. Okay, they're quite easy. We have to get away from that mindset. Oh, that's difficult because they hate agents now because it didn't work with the last agent. No, they have a home to sell. They still have to sell it. They can do it on their own if they want to, but they're not going to do that. They already know it was hard enough with an agent. It's going to be even harder on my own. So they're willing to pay an agent commission to sell it. However, they will not use the same agent in most cases. Now, you're not the only agent who knows about that expires are motivated and they will pick another agent. A lot of other agents know that too. And that's why sometimes when you start calling expires, if you've never done it before, you can find yourself quickly in a red ocean along with everybody else. Let's say it's 10 o'clock in the morning and you say, oh, I'm going to do my expired phone calls right now or my text messages. And then they text me back or call me back or answer the phone and say, you're the 20th agent who calls me this morning. What's going on? This is horrible. Please take me off your list. And we want to avoid that. We don't want to be in a red ocean with everybody else, but we still want to call expireds. We want to be in a blue ocean. So the question is, how in the world can you win with expireds in a blue ocean? Meaning doing something different than everybody else at a different time so I don't have that much competition. And there's a way to do this. The blue graph here shows us what the difference is. 70% of expireds end up listing with the first agent who calls. Let that sink in a little bit. It's more about timing than about having the biggest team, being in a market, where there are a lot of expireds, or having the biggest marketing budget, or having the most years in the industry. It's more important to be first. Second, and that's a stat you want to share with your expireds when you have them on the phone. 51% will sell the home if they relist with the same agent versus 71% end up selling if they pick a different agent. So that is in your favor, right? You were not the first agent, but you will be the second agent. And you can tell them you have a better chance now to sell your house than the first time around because you learned something and I know something that the previous agent didn't know. So you're in good hands. So let's focus on the first stat here. 71%, 78% of sellers list with the first agent who calls. So how can you be first? If you went to your MLS on the 1st of the month of January 1st, that was actually the biggest expired day in years. And traditionally, it is always the biggest expired day of the entire year. So I encourage all of you to go back to January 1st, download that entire list if you don't have Land Voice, and start reaching out to those people. There are thousands. And not everybody has picked an agent yet. Okay. We have about 300 to 400% more expireds on the first of every day of every month than on any other day. Why do you think that is? Qierre, why do you think that is?
Because contracts typically expire during that time. I mean, especially if you're
Exactly.
taking, yeah, just
100%.
just the numericals. Yeah.
Yeah, they expire on the last day of the month. So, on the first, we have more expires. If you didn't know that, please mark your calendar for February 1st. Make that an important day. But on every day, you will have expires. You may not have like 1,000, but you
Hmm.
still have 40, 50, right? Or more, depending on which MLS you're in. So don't miss the first of the month. Make it a regular habit to call expireds. So I'm going to ask you, how many expires and cancels are in your MLS in the last 30 days? After this webinar, take a look, do some research, and then ask yourself this question. What would it take for me to call on those expires and cancels and have the confidence that I'm the first one who sends a text message or the first one to make that phone call? In other words, how can I have that data ready for my 1,000 or 400 or whatever the number is by 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning, right? Most of you will probably think right now, oh, yeah, that would require a walk through the night and do all the research, find all the phone numbers, do not call registry lookup. That is super important for every phone number. And then also make sure, is that expired now, withdrawn, canceled, active, pending, sold? So you do the MLS status lookup and you got to do the absentee owner lookup because the number that you find is typically associated with what? With a home, right? With the address. But there might be a renter living there, so that doesn't do you any good to call them. So phone number lookup, DNC scrubbing, absentee owner lookup, MLS status lookup, all of that takes way too much time. And that is the reason why so many agents give up on expires and cancel so quickly because they said, you know what, I can never be first. So there's a much easier way to do this, right? We don't live in the Stone Age anymore. We don't live in the 90s anymore. Don't live in the 2000s anymore. We are all past that, right? 2026. The agent with the most data always wins and with the best data provider. So Land Voice gives you a system where within 30 seconds, that includes logging in to the system, turning on the computer, logging in, then just clicking on expireds, you have literally thousands of records ready. Here's what it looks like. You log into Land Voice, you click on expireds, and you find a database. If you have never seen this before, you're gonna geek out on that. It's gonna give you the phone number, scrubbed against the do not call registry. If a number is on DNC, it's red. In account settings, you can actually say, oh, I don't want to see any DNC numbers, do not call numbers. and you can hide them all, so you never ever see them. We look for the absentee owner. Right here, you can see that this address is different than the actual physical home address. That means the absentee owner lives in this address. And the phone number that we give you at LandVoice is actually associated with the seller, not with a possible renter who lives in that property. Isn't that great? That saves you so much time.
Yeah,
We
and then
also
also
look
gives
for,
you the email
yeah.
address as well too.
Yeah, we look for email addresses and
Mhm.
even social media profiles. Guys, we don't find that many social media profiles, but when we find them, we give it to you. We find a lot of email addresses, but we ping them, throw out the bad ones. And if it's deliverable, we give it to you. So we do a lot of work here for you that you don't have to do yourself and don't get frustrated with all those bad emails. And we give you all the information about the home. And one of my favorite part is this MLS status update. You don't have to go back and forth between LandVoice and their MLS. All you got to do is log into LandVoice and the data is there accurately. Okay. So then you can export it into your CRM or manage it wherever you want. It's very easy to export and import. We are even integrated with several CRMs and also auto dialers. One of my favorite things is the filter because you don't want to look up, all every single MLS status. But what you want to do, remember at the beginning, we said there are $144 billion in cancels and expires. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna do the withdrawals because they are still with an agent, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that might come back up. I cannot call those. At least my broker doesn't allow it. But well, you can call cancels and you should call cancels. There are so many right now and expires. Okay, huge. You can have literally, when we're talking about four transactions in a quarter, they can all come from expires if you want to.
Mhm.
Okay, and we're not even done. We go through other lead sources, and that's, my friends, is how you avoid all this competition that is such a bother all the time. So frustrating, when you're in the middle of everybody else doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. And it's so refreshing to go to bed at night and say, I know I turn my computer on in the morning and I have my data ready. If one of you guys has their volume, the audio up, if you can please mute yourself because we can hear your conversation. All right. Thank you. Okay. So so that to help us move along quickly, I'm not going to give you the scripts right now. I'm just going to fly through those really quick. I'm just going to tell you lead with value in your script. We're going to give you at Landwas all the scripts. Okay. I don't come in with commission breath and say why I'm the greatest agent in the world and why the other agents sucked. No, no, no. You want to solve the problem first. We're going to give you those scripts. I'm just going to go through that really quick. Actually, one of them I have to tell you. When I
I got
called,
my I carry my process script with me every morning, Christoph. I
you
got it
what?
right here.
Oh,
I
good.
got my
Good.
process script right here. It's kind of hard to
Awesome.
see it, but I got it with me.
Here's one that you may not have. When they tell you, hey, I think I'm on the do not call, or if they tell you, um, I'm getting way too many calls. It's getting annoying. Then they say, well, that is because your number is not on the do not call registry. And that's why I called you on that number. And guess what? When I hang up, you're gonna get about 30 to 50 calls just in the first day of being expired on every phone number an agent can find for you. That includes your spouse and your children if you have any. So my recommendation is right now, after this call, go to donotcall.gov and register all the phone numbers in your household. That's really important for you as an expired. And if you did it 5 years ago, that doesn't count because you have to redo it ever so often. Okay, go to do not call. And I love doing this because you give value without asking for something. You help them solve a problem. And now you have the trust, and now you can actually lead into the listing appointment. I don't call it a listing appointment. I always call it a side-by-side analysis and say, hey, I worked really hard on a side-by-side analysis for you that outlines exactly what I would do different and better than the agent who let your listing expire. Among other things, I look at the photos, the description. Did they do a drone video? I basically see what did they do, what did they not do. Most of the time, there's tons of stuff missing, right? They messed up somewhere. Especially a virtual tour, so important. If there's none, I tell them, hey, your home didn't get seen by a lot of people because they're always checking out homes on virtual tour. So then you can say this, I worked really hard on this analysis. I have it ready. I can drop by this evening or would this afternoon work better? What's a good time for you so I can swing this by? And they always give you a time because you're not asking for a commitment, to sign a listing, to interview you for the job. That sounds so formal and so they're not ready for it. They don't even know you. But yeah, they want to see a side-by-side analysis. And then, of course, you don't just hand it to them. That would be rude. You say, let me just go over that really quick to highlight what I found. And that turns into your listing presentation. Without even having asked for a listing appointment, you find yourself going through your listing presentation. They will ask you how much you charge, your commission, all of this stuff. By the end, you could sign a listing appointment. And it was very organic, always coming from value. I hope that was great so far. Qierre, you learned something?
Oh, absolutely. These two scripts, I don't have in my script book. Christoph, you gotta send them to me.
Yeah, I will. Okay. Okay, let's go to old expires. Old expires is something else that a lot of agents forget about. And you may say, no, 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 I do those. I always do that last month or 2 months ago. May I just introduce to you a concept to go back a couple of years? Why? Because those expires who gave up like in 2020 or 21, they are in a very unique position right now. They don't know the current value of the home. They haven't talked to an agent for a while. That's why they don't know it. There's virtually no competition for the same reason. And once you show them the stat and say, you know what, last time you were in the market in 2020, your home was worth, and then for area that doesn't make sense. That sounds like ridiculously low. That's just a national average here, okay? $254,000. It appreciated 46% or $117,000 to 371. In your market, you can probably add a couple zeros to that. Okay. But the graph is very similar. It went up like crazy since COVID. So right now we are on the top of the market. The market is flattening right now, going down in many areas of yours. And that is actually something good because now you can tell them before home values drop more, it is the best time to sell right now. Don't find yourself in the same position you were back in 2020, right? Where you thought you got to get a great deal, but then you saw the market is going up. Right now, the market is not going up very much. So it is a great time to put your home on the market, take advantage of the great offers that are being written right now. Now, the mistake that you could make by going after old expires is again to try to do it manually. You would actually have to hire somebody to scrub through thousands and thousands of records from the past years for every zip code that you prospect in. That's too much work. You pay too much money for that. So we remove at Landvoice the competition almost completely for you because they're not doing this. We're going to give you access to all the expires in your top zip codes. But instead of giving you all the expires with the phone numbers, we take out all the foreclosures, actives and solds, because you don't care about those. And we add the phone numbers, the hard to find phone numbers, even if they're not listed, to the currently still expired properties that have not relisted, that are not currently active. Then we do an absentee owner lookup, we do the DNC scrubbing, give you a clean list, not only for that zip code, but for as many zip codes as you want to prospect in. And we make it exclusive. Only one agent per zip code and past year. And then you can have that data. So inexpensive, guys. If you think this is like $1,000 per zip code like with Zillow, no. It's $250 a one-time fee for 2 zip codes and a guaranteed minimum amount of all expires after scrubbing. Okay, so you're not left empty-handed. You get at least 50 or maybe 100, depending on what we find, but at minimum of 50. Here's a script. I'm gonna give you that later. I'll give you a phone number where you can download or a landing page where you can download all the scripts, but I have to fly through a little bit faster. So for those of you who say, oh, that's a great idea, I'm going to do that in the spring because right now I'm so busy with my daily expireds. Guys, spend a couple more minutes a day. Call a couple old expireds. You can probably pump them out in just 2 days, right? There are not that many in your top zip codes. We may give you 50, 60, 70. You can do that quickly. So don't be like the dinosaurs who say, I do this later, because guess what? Right now, they're coming back on the market. Right now, we call it the expired rush. January is the expired rush. That's when all the expireds come back on the market. All expireds are going to hear the news that how many homes are coming back on the market, are going to be sold. Great offers are being written, and they're going to come back on the market too. So instead of them finding an agent, let us give you the list and you find them before they call somebody. Okay. So here's how we can do it. This is, by the way, I do a free lookup for you. Text me your top four zip codes to 801-227-9909. That is my phone number. Doesn't go to anybody on the sales floor. This is me. And then I will do a lookup and see if your zip code is available. That's for all expireds, okay? For the daily expireds, guys, it's open game. I'm going to give you later a deal how you can get those. But the old expireds, you kind of have to lock yourself in because of that exclusivity. But let me do the free lookup for you. I even can tell you what the appreciation was in those zip codes over any past previous year and give you a recommendation on what year I would focus on 20, 21, 22. Okay, so I have all that data for you and can share that with you for free. Okay, we got to move on. For sale by owners, guys, that's another need seller in this market that you should be focusing on right now. I know there are not as many as expireds. We all understand that, but they are still motivated. They still want to sell their home, and there are still many of them. It's literally the fastest source of business opportunity. If you have nothing else going on, even if there wouldn't be any expireds in your market, you always can count on there are for sale by owners. The question is, how can you get to them and how can you get that listing? 80% of them eventually will list with an agent, usually after the first failed open house. When those visitors go through the open house and they look around and they don't even look like buyers, and you think like afterwards, who was that? Why did they check this house out? What kind of creepy this person, right? And you get kind of worried, letting strangers into your house, and then you, as a for sale by owner, you may say, you know what, let's hire an agent. I'm not going to do that next week again. And that's why within 2 or 3 weeks they end up listing with an agent. The mistake that a lot of agents make is they drive around the neighborhood to write down or take a picture of every for sale by owner. They go to Zillow, forsalebyowner.com, and that sounds pretty cool, but it's still a lot of data research, right? Because there are so many lead sources. There's more than just forsalebyowner.com and Zillow. Landvoice actually goes into 1,300 online sources every single day by midnight to give you all the fresh for sale by owners in your area. You simply give it your top two counties. Let's say LA County, right? Huge county. And there are, of course, 1,300 online sources where the people will know put their ads on. Landvoice goes in at night with the spiders and the crawlers. We pull all that data out, put it into your Landvoice platform, scrub it against the MLS, and let you know if that for sale by owner is now active or sold or pending or whatever, or still a for sale by owner. And then we give you a 6 month back database. No, 12 months back. 12 months back database with all the older for sale by owners. Why do we do that? Because they're like fine wine. The older they get, the better. So if you still find a for sale by owner from, like, let's say 2 months ago or 5 months ago, and they are still showing up as a for sale by owner, not as active, you bet you should call them, of course. Those are the easy ones, okay? Plus all the new ones. And we give you the script how you can convert any new for sale by owner into a potential listing, at least to get an appointment with them. There's a really easy way to do this. They can hardly say no to it, and we're gonna give you that script. Also, what we give you at Landvoice is the ad. A lot of agents don't know that. They just stay on the first page here and they say, oh, cool, all the information about the home and everything and the phone number. But when you click on the address in Landvoice, like right here, when I click on that, then I see the ad right here at the bottom, and now I can have an intelligent conversation with them over the phone. So then I want to tag them. and say a first attempt, second attempt, or write my own tag, right? Whatever you want in any language you want, you can recall those tags and they will pop right back up. Tony Robbins tells us, and that is true for sale by owners, more than anything else. If you add the value, you become the brand. Find a way to add more value than anyone else. Guys, I cannot stress enough how important it is to do something totally different with for sale by owners than the next agent. The next agent may also say, I have a CRM for you, not CRM, comparative market analysis for you, a CMA. And we think, oh, that's kind of cool. It's different. Oh, a lot of agents have that. I have a book for you that shows you all the steps you need to do to sell as a for sale by owner. Well, I guarantee you there are other agents who have the same idea. So what else can you do that's totally different? I give you a download link later where you can find all those ideas and all those scripts that makes you stand out from everybody else. But first, I want to give you a free for sale by owner lookup. Remember, I told you there are 1,300 sources where LandVoice goes in and finds the for sale by owners. I want to give you the number of how many for sale by owners you have in your top 2 to 4 counties from 1,300 different sources in the last day, in the last week, in the last 6 months, in the last year. That's data that is so intelligent, you cannot afford not to know it. Okay, you gotta know this data because that shows you how big the opportunity is for sale by owners. So text me your top 2 to 4 counties to 801-227-9909. I will actually enlist the help of 2 people at LandVoice to help me look that up. It's Jake and Chad, and maybe Alex as well. And the three of us, we will go to work and find what we can find for you and let you know what we find. And that doesn't cost you anything. Okay, how many for sale owners we have. If you want the data in your LandVoice platform, we're gonna give you a deal how you can get it at a really, really low price a little bit later. Okay, pre-foreclosures. Pre-foreclosures are an important lead source right now. Why? Because the economic headwinds that have started a couple of years ago, they are still continuing, and people are losing homes. They're in a situation they never thought would ever happen to them. It's really, really stressful. So you want to come in before all the stress gets worse. It gets worse the closer they go to the foreclosure date. If you come in right at the beginning, basically, let's say the day they receive a notice of default or a list pendants notice, you're so early in the game that you have plenty of time putting that home on the market. You have 60 to 180 days to getting it sold before it goes into foreclosure, and they will be grateful forever because you take all the stress out of their life. You just have to call a bunch of people and find out, who is actually in that market of interested in selling and not, finding a creative way to finance their property. Many of them have to sell. They have no other choice. So we give you the data for all the pre-foreclosures. How do we get that? Well, we go to all the county records, and the day it's filed electronically, not per mail, but electronically, which comes before, we give you the pre-foreclosure data for your top 2 to 4 counties. I actually looked it up in the counties. Qierre told me that most of you are in Southern California, San Diego County, LA County, San Bernardino County, Orange County. You know how many you have there in the last 90 days? Any guesses? Couple hundred? How about
Wow.
4,251 in the area from Los Angeles down to San Diego? 4,251. How many of those are going to sell their home? Too many to count. Okay. So do yourself a favor. Spend a couple minutes a day to also call the pre-foreclosures, maybe closest to you. You know that area the best, right? We let you sort by zip code. So you can do that and call those as well. I want to give you the script for these. Never ever say this. Hey, this is Christoph. I'm a real estate agent. I'm calling you because I saw your home is going into foreclosure. Let me help you. Help people like you who are in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. You may come from, your heart is in the right place. You want to help them, of course. But that actually puts them on a defense right away. They don't know you. It sounds like kind of creepy that you, as a stranger, know about their pre-foreclosure that they just received on that day in the mail. And they may say, "No, please take me off your list. Don't call me." Why do they do that? Because they don't know you. And also they think, oh my gosh, I have all this time. I can talk to my banker first. I can talk to my mortgage lender. I know some other agent. So don't do this. Don't lose those hot leads. But what you can say is this, and I'll tell you where the script is from. There's a lady in Tampa, Florida, and she stood out to me because she said, I'm have how many? Gee, she has like 40 or something transactions every quarter from pre-foreclosures, an enormous high amount, right? And I said, what are you doing? You're doing a lot more than most agents that I know. And she said, well, first of all, I focus on that. I have a team that helps me. I said, yeah, but if you have a team, that means you have a lot of appointments. How do you get those appointments? She said, I use a neighborhood search script. I call the pre-foreclosures from Land Voice, and here's what I say. Hi, I'm Christina. I'm a real estate agent here in Tampa, Florida. I'm calling everybody in the neighborhood because home prices are up. And I know your home isn't for sale right now, but have you ever thought about selling? Sometimes she changes it and she says, well, if you were offered the right price for your home, would you be willing to sell? Guys, this script may not work that amazingly with a regular neighbor, right? That is not in pre-foreclosure, but with somebody who is in pre-foreclosure, it's phenomenal. Why? Because they want to know the value of their home. And if you say the right price for your home, then they think, okay, what is the right price? Do you have any idea? Yes, I have. I would love to come by, drop off a CMA. Okay. So we're going to train you on that. But first, we want to give you the data, of course, and then we're going to give you the scripts and show you how to get listing appointments. Guys, it's not hard to do those 4 transactions in a quarter. Hopefully, by now you can say, oh my gosh, I can have a couple from expired, some from pre-foreclosures. I never did pre-foreclosures or for sale by owners. Here's another couple transactions. I can totally meet my goal this year. So let me do a free pre-foreclosure lookup for you. Text your top 2 zip codes, no, counties, sorry, your top 2 counties to 801-227-9909. And I want to hear my phone just beep right now because this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know how many pre-foreclosures you had in the last week, the last day, even 90 days, in the last year, if you care to know. All the data Landvoice has at the fingertips. Okay, and then of course, if you want the data, you can sign up with Landvoice and you have the data and you can now get listings. We also even have distress data that comes before pre-foreclosure. If you're an investor, you might be interested in that. Let me know when we talk on the phone, and I can let you know how much that is as an add-on. Now we capture actually the data of those people who miss mortgage payments, get a letter of demand from the bank, but they're not yet in pre-foreclosure. It's like the pre-stage of that. That's pretty cool, right? All right. We also have neighborhood search, geographic farming. Why do we talk about that? That sounds a little bit off topic when we talk about motivated seller leads. Well, not so far off. We know statistically there are about 2 to 3 deals happening around any listing or just sold in your market. Okay. We call this listings have babies. When there's a listing in a neighborhood, other listings go up. Other people become interested to buy or to sell or to maybe move their aging parents closer to them, whatever reason. But if you don't talk to the neighbors, you're missing out typically on 2 to 3 additional listings that you could have gotten if you just would have circle prospected around that listing. So we give you a tool, we call it neighborhood search. Neighborhood search allows you to draw a boundary in any shape and form around any neighborhood anywhere in the United States, up to 600 homes per search. What we capture is, of course, the name and the address, that's a given, but we even find the phone numbers. We scrub them even against the do not call registry to keep you safe, like we always do. We even look for demographics that you can see right here. We don't always find all the demographics, but when we find them, we give them to you. We don't charge extra, we just include it. And you may say, oh, this is awesome, but you probably limit it to maybe 100 or 200 lookups a month or so. That's not enough for me. What if I tell you that you get 3,000 lookups every single month? That is more than any other competitor that we have in this industry. Every month, that's 36,000 records with phone numbers that you can capture in a year. And you don't even have to say, oh, I want that included. It is already included in the land voice bundle, guys. Whether you want it or not, eventually you will know that you wanted it because it's amazing. It is just part of our deal. And that data can be used for social media campaigns, for texting campaigns, whatever you want. Here's a word to the wise. It's all about selection, guys. Don't just get excited about neighborhood search and say, oh, okay, now finally I can get into this great neighborhood over there. Well, find out first, what is the turnover rate in that neighborhood? Is it 6% or higher? If yes, it's definitely worth a shot, right? To get that data for all those for all those homeowners, and then do a campaign. If it's only 1%, why bother, right? That's what I say. Just go to a higher turnover neighborhood. Because if you start with 500 homes, keep it small, then we know that 30 of those will sell or buy within that year. Okay. And then you go to the next neighborhood, and that's manageable. That's something, especially as a solo agent, you can manage. And remember, we give you 3,000 lookups, so you can plenty of those neighborhoods you can do. Now, all of you were patiently waiting for the download link for the dialogues and the videos and the ebooks and the scripts. Here it is, landvoice.com/free downloads. Please take advantage of this. We created that for you for a reason. We want you to have the best scripts, come with value. There's also a QR code where you can download that. Again, I say it one more time, landvoice.com/free downloads in plural. Okay, so I talked about competitors a little bit, right? Because I know that some of you maybe have a system that you say, oh, that sounds so familiar. No, I have something like that, just like that. I don't need land voice. Well, I want to show you how much better land voice is than any of the competitors that we have in the market. We have the highest Google rating, as you can see right here, the most Google reviews, phenomenal reviews, most of them 5-star. We have more data than anybody else. I'm comparing apples to apples here. In neighborhood search, you can see we have 3,000 that we include, while everybody else has 1,000. The most one we see here, 2,500 or 1,000. And now the question is, well, if you're that much better and you have that much more data, how much more expensive are you than the rest? I'm going to show you that in a second. But before we get there, I want to actually play a 40-second video of a couple testimonials so you hear from other agents across the country who are using land voice, and they're going to share their experience really quick. This is really a short video.
We are absolutely crushing it on Land Voice. Our team in less than 3 weeks has 17 listings.
Last week alone, my team and I set up 15 listing appointments off of Land Voice leads. Today we set 3 so far.
The first week on my Land Voice, I listed 10 homes. In the last 6 weeks, I've listed 17. They're the best thing I've ever done for my business.
In my first year of knowing nobody, I earned so much business all because of Land Voice.
Voice works.
And I can tell you without a doubt that the best numbers for the best price is Land Voice.
And so that's why we choose to work with Land Voice. They work for me in 90 plus cities. I think they'll work for you.
Okay. I love that I could show you hours of those videos, but we got to move on here. So what are you getting with Land Voice? I told you already there's a bundle that has everything that we just talked about in one platform. The expireds, the for sale by owners, the pre-foreclosures, and neighborhood search, all in the same platform. And here's the pricing. It is not more expensive than anybody else just because we have better data and we have more data. But on purpose, we actually decided to be half of the price of anybody else. Why can we do this? Why do we do this? First of all, we are the top provider in the industry, have been around the longest. We do have the resources that we can say we can set our pricing and still be profitable. We don't need to be greedy here. But 2 years ago, we were acquired by a multi-billion-dollar company. And what they said is, the way to capture market share is have the best data guaranteed and have the lowest price. If you have the best data and the lowest price, you capture market share. So that's what we're doing right now. That's why you see our price at $14.97 a year. Guys, the first transaction will pay for that for years, right? Only one transaction. And yet you get so many, like you heard from all those testimonials. Like this one guy got 15 listing appointments in a week. That's not untypical, right? So I'm going to show you now what we do for you at this webinar. So today we're going to give you an extra discount of the 1497, which is our 2026 pricing. Today we give you $500 off, 997. That's, hey, if you do the math, that's kind of crazy. $2.71 a day or $83 a month. I think, a lot of us are used to, writing those $1,000 checks to other companies a month for almost, maybe get one transaction out of this. This is a fraction of that with so much more ROI. I'm going to even give you a bonus for that. I will double the counties for you for everybody who signs up for LandVoice today. So what does this mean? In Southern California. Well, now you can pick, let's say, Riverside and LA, but also Orange and San Diego, right? And you may say, no, I don't have anybody there that, I don't gonna drive that far. Well, I'm sure you know an agent that you can set a referral to. Set the listing appointment and send that referral to for a 25-30% commission split. Huge. So I'm gonna give you that for free. How much is it worth? Well, the Pro Bundle is worth $14.97. 2 extra counties for FISBOs, which is double because 2 are normally included. I give you 2 extra. Now you get 4. Is $240 value for the year. 2 extra counties for pre-foreclosures, another $240 value. And I give you an ultimate guide to postcards. That's actually it's $100 value, but I wrote here 50. I give you that for free. And normally that would be now $2,027 a year. And people pay that all the time. And that's still lower, $800 lower than the next closest competitor. Today, you get that for $997. I wrote here end of the year because I rolled out a special at the end of the year. I'm honoring it now at the beginning of the year at the same price for you. So hurry before that goes up because that's for this webinar, okay? That price, by the way, will not increase next year or in a couple of years. This is it. The best thing you can do for your business is invest in your business early in the year. If you haven't already done so, okay? I'm sure you invested something, but invest in the right technology. And this is something you can't pass up. It's really, really good.
Christoph, I had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Daniel had a question. He was asking about when will the follow-up boss integration be available?
Okay, so that is a little bit on them right now. We are done on our end. We're just waiting to hear back from them that it's done. We know it was supposed to be at the end of the year, so we assume it's going to be this month. That's already a little bit behind. But until it's completed, please understand you can export our data as a CSV file and import it into Follow-Up Boss or any other CRM. Okay, so there's still a solution which doesn't take long, but I understand an API integration is awesome and it's going to be done soon. Now that special $997 is not for anybody. It's for the first 15 because we still got to be profitable. And so we limit this to 15 of you. Now, here's a phone number again, 801-227-9909 is my phone number. If you want to be among those 15, please text me the word pro. That's all I need to know. Maybe your name. And then we're going to do it in order as received. And we're going to call back and everybody we're going to close today until we have 15. We'll get the deal guaranteed for life. Guys, this is how you not only get like 4 transactions a quarter, the first quarter. It's for every quarter. It's for the entire year, right? It's how many transactions you want to have. We have, I have one agent, he actually says, he sets 8 listing appointments, a minimum a week with LandVoice, sometimes 15. sometimes a little bit less, but that's a lot, right? You can get like two, three additional listings every single week by having that data. That is huge. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the Q&A. Are there any other questions, Coach Q, that you saw?
All right, let's see. Well, this is a question. So obviously, obviously this is a great price with the 997. Do you have any other options? Maybe if someone wants to do like quarterly or do monthly, do you have options
Yeah.
for them as well?
Okay, let me throw that out really quick. So, and you want to write this down. We have a semi-annual for 525, and we give you one extra county for that. So you get a total of three counties. We have a quarterly, normally $467. Today, $275. Pretty good. It includes two counties total. Okay. There's a monthly option where you get land voice for $100 a month instead of $177 a month. My recommendation is, if you can do it, snag the discount for the annual, because it has the most bonuses with the two extra counties, right? Our ebook and then all the training that comes with it. So let me see if I see another question here. No, I think we are good. Hey, thank you everybody for having been on here. Thank you, Coach Q. Any final words from you?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. So, like I said, for me, I sat down with my coach and I put together my business plan for 2026. And for me, each day I have to have at least 67 reach outs,
Okay.
right? I have to have 67 reach outs in order to hit my goal for 2026. And Land Voice gives me the ability to actually be able to perform those reach outs. Like, for instance, this morning I downloaded a list of 289 people to call today. Because again, I have to do 67 reach outs a day to have six conversations to hit my goal for 2026. Land Voice gives me the ability to have the data and have the
Mhm.
people to reach out to.
Thank you.
And the thing is too, one of the things that we know is that the industry has changed. You know what I mean? You can't build a successful business off of two to three pillars of business. You know what I mean? You can't just rely on your past clients. You can't just rely on your sphere of influence. You need to have other sources of business. You know what I mean? Like Christoph was talking about, your expired, the for sale by owner, the pre-foreclosures. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like these are, and then also the old expireds. These are pillars that need to be in all of your businesses because the thing is, as the market shifts, you want to make sure you have other levers of business opportunities. The problem is a lot of people have maybe two or three. And the thing is, your sphere of influence is amazing, but they don't always have business for you. Your past clients are amazing, but they don't always have business for you. But when it comes to expireds, you always have people to reach out to. You're never gonna say, "Oh my gosh, you know what I mean, Christoph, I have no one to call." That's
No,
never
that
going
doesn't
to
happen.
happen. Doesn't
Makes
happen
me
at
laugh. Yeah.
all. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So the
doesn't
thing
happen.
is, if you want to give yourself the best opportunity to crush it in 2026, to provide a great life for not just for yourself, but for your family, and truly live your life by design, you need to sign up for Land Voice because again, it's going to give you the data because like he said, he or she who has the data wins. And
Mhm.
Land Voice gives you the data, they'll give you the scripts, and I'm using Land Voice. So for me personally, I would never endorse a product if I don't personally use it. I
Yeah.
use Land Voice. I've already generated several leads. You know what I mean? I have a few listings that'll be coming up, with the next month or so. I picked up a few buyer leads that my lender's actually going to be making appointments. I picked up a seller buyer earlier today that my lender's going to talk to him about, getting possibly a refinance to buy his next home, but I'll be selling his home and helping him buy another one. You know what I mean? So the thing is, I know this tool works. And this is the perfect time to sign up for this because you do this now in the earlier part of 2026. By the time the thing is, this is what I want you guys to understand. I want you to hit your goals before. I want you guys to hit your goals by September or sooner. I
Mhm.
don't want you to think that you got until December 31st, 2026 to hit your goal. No, I don't want that. I want you to hit your goals by September of this year or sooner. I want you guys to be able to relax during October, November, December. If you want to work, work, of course. But I don't want you to be pressured to think that, oh my gosh, I haven't hit my goals. I gotta get 2 or 3 more transactions. I gotta do open houses on December 23rd and all this kind of stuff. No, I want you guys to be able to relax, feel that you accomplished your goals because you decided to invest in yourself at the beginning of 2026 and you didn't want to wait until the end of the year to actually invest in yourself. So really, I'm telling you guys, sign up for Land Voice. Focus on the expired, the for sale by owners, the neighborhood nurture, the pre foreclosures. Obviously, work your sphere of influence, but I guarantee you guys, you do this, you will crush your goals. You will provide a great life for you and your
So,
family. You'll be able to go on the vacations, on the trips, and again, you guys will always have people to talk to. You'll never run out of it. And this is what I'm using. So, I do my mastery class started today. So Monday through Fridays, guys, we're on the phones making calls. We're doing scripts and role play. I guarantee you guys sign up for Land Voice. You're doing this with me 5 days a week. You guys are not only going to close 4 transactions in the quarter, you're going to do more. You guys are be making 6 figures by June. I promise you. But you guys have to commit to yourself and invest in yourself, invest in your business, sign up for Land Voice.
thank you so much. I That was really good. For those on the call who may not have your contact information, do you want to put it in the chat, Qierre? How do
I'm
they get a
sorry.
hold of you? If
Oh yeah, for
someone's on the
sure.
call who doesn't know you, right?
Oh yes. Yeah, so
Let's
I'll
talk
put it in the
about a
chat here,
program that
but
you have.
yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yes. So yeah, I put my phone number in the chat here, and then yeah, for most part, most everyone knows who I am on here. But yeah, Cicely, yeah. So we'll definitely go over a class of how to utilize Land Voice for sure. But like Christoph was saying, it's super easy to use it. But yeah, I'll definitely do that for you guys as well because this is going to give you guys the tool you need to be successful. I guarantee you. You guys do this, you will be successful. We'll be doing this together. I will be partnered with you to helping you guys all crush your goals because I got goals to crush too. We're going to be accountable to each other. We're going to partner together, and Land Voice is going to take us to the other side and have us all an
Love it.
amazing 2026. The best year in your real estate career in 2026, partnering with Land Voice. I guarantee it.
Thank you. And that's a beautiful note on to end. I appreciate having been on this webinar with you and for organizing that. And I
Absolutely.
can't
And this
wait
won't be the
actually.
last one, Christoph. I plan to do this once a quarter because
Yeah,
what's going to be awesome is the next time we do this, we're going to have some of our agents on here and they're going to be sharing their testimonials.
that's
What
right.
did you do in the first quarter? Oh, I closed 4. I closed 6, right?
Hey, and for those of you who are part-time agents and you say, wow, you know what, he's doing 6 to 7 phone calls a day. There's no way I can do that. I understand. As a part-time agent, you can. It's very difficult. But can you make 10?
Yes, Christoph will reach out to you.
Right?
Yeah, one of my agents was asking if she texts pro, who'll reach out. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, he'll reach out to you.
Yeah, I have a lot of part-time agents who are still crushing it, even if they just can call 10 new contacts a day and get an additional listing a week. So yeah, it's for everybody. So thank you very much. I'll let you guys go, and I will jump on the call with all those text messages that I just received.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much, Christoph, for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate my clients and educate my agents and give them something of value. You guys sign up. I guarantee you, you guys will have an amazing 2026. Let's rock it together. Thank you.